Hi, my name is Emily, and this is my partner Ainsley. We just got back from an amazing trip on the other side of Bali that was packed full of activities and adventure. Bali is definitely one of the top destinations in Southeast Asia. You might know it as one of the places to swing over rice fields and eat in boutique cafes. But I'm going to show you a side to Bali that is so much more than that. Here is Bali. When you plan your vacation, the island might seem overwhelming on where to go. But you'll start your vacation off here in Denpasar.
Welcome to Bali. Thank you very much.
Kuta is the most overly populated tourist spot. The accommodations are budget friendly, but that does attract a larger crowd. It's great for shopping, drinking, and surfing. Now, we are moving up the west coast from Seminyak to Canggu. These areas are a lot like Kuta, but a bit less busy and trendier the closer you get to Canggu. In the heart of Bali is Ubud. This place is any yoga practitioner's haven. Ubud has beautiful views of rice fields and a monkey forest I definitely recommend checking out. Down at the southwestern tip is the less crowded Uluwatu. You'll for sure find a lot of Californians and Aussie surfers in this part of Bali. The waves are big and attract advanced surfers. If you're looking to splurge, this area is known for its high-end hotels. And finally, over on the east coast, we have the hidden gem of Amed, the lesser-known part of Bali. This is where we made a base for the next 18 days. It's home to 5 kilometers of beautiful coral, 2 awesome shipwrecks, a ridiculous amount of things to do, and all with the dramatic backdrop of the Agong volcano. The first activity on my list of things to do on the other side of Bali is whitewater rafting. To my surprise, they have a beautiful trail, and I might pronounce this wrong, on Telagawaja River. It runs 20 kilometers long and takes around 3 hours to ride it. They have fast rapids surrounded by outstanding nature. We must have been really bad at rafting because we smashed into every rock and cliffside possible. Don't worry, no tourists were harmed in the making of this movie. Okay, you might think I am crazy for telling you to go on this adventure that starts at 1:30 a.m., but it's totally worth it. We are well prepared for our hike this morning. We ordered pizza last night. Check it out, breakfast. Yum. Mont Batur is a non-active volcano in the north of Bali. Although the visibility wasn't great the day we chose to climb it, it didn't affect anyone's spirit. It was a great experience, and we were still able to get panoramic views when descending the peak. You'll be able to get a guide at the bottom of the volcano. Gray was our guide, and he was awesome. He showed us the steam holes and all the shortcuts. A few tips: dress in layers, it gets cold. And if you want to save some money, pack water and snacks. The first wreck to check out is the Japanese shipwreck from World War II. It's right in the middle of Amed and only 12 meters deep, with the top only being a meter from the surface. This means it's perfect for snorkeling. You can either rent snorkel gear from your accommodation or at the wreck itself. While you already have your snorkel gear, check out Gem Luke, another local beach with some beautiful coral. At this point, you might as well finish off your day with a bintang and a view. A 1-minute drive up the hill is Sunset Point. The meal is average, but the company was 5 stars. Do you have anything to add to the vlog? The U.S. Liberty shipwreck is also from World War II and is a much larger ship. People come here from all over Bali just for this dive. I dived with a company called Eco Dive, and we had a great time under the water. There are even parts of the wreck you could enter. These video clips do not do it justice of how nice it is. Another one for the books. While I was in the East Coast, I spent a day checking out temples. I also recommend you make a pit stop at White Sand Beach. We woke up early to head to Ujjain Palace for sunrise. It's also known as the Water Temple, and this was my favorite temple we went to that day. You can see for yourself that it's absolutely stunning. Next up is Tirta Gangga, a beautiful water garden, and if you're into photography, it's a great spot to snap some pictures. My personal favorite part was feeding the fish. The final temple of this day is Lempuyang. This is an iconic place in Bali. You may have seen this photo. If you're wondering how everyone gets this reflection picture, well, here's a little behind the scenes for you.
One more. 1, 2, 3.
Don't get me wrong, this place is really cool and the view is great, but for me personally, the queue of people there to take the exact same photos kind of takes away from the whole experience. I'll leave it up to you whether or not you want to add it to your itinerary. In between visiting temples, make sure to take a break and head to the beach. White Sand Beach is in the area and probably the nicest beach in the East Coast, so I recommend you add it to your temple day. As you could tell from the name, it has white sand and crystal clear water. I could pretty much thank this beach for the tan I got this holiday. Thank you. We spent the morning on the water watching the sunrise. This had to be one of my favorite moments ever. It's so peaceful and beautiful, and in my opinion, you have the best view of the Algang volcano. If you're not a sunrise kind of person, I also heard it's popular to have champagne and watch the sunset, which also sounds amazing. Cheers to that. My next adventure for you is discovering what Amed has to offer inland. First up, if you want to see how the locals live in Amed, you can organize a trip to a village. This was our local guide. I always try and get a feel for the local life whenever I travel. One thing I could say is that they have a strong sense of community. Also, religion is a big part of their everyday. Every family has a temple at their house and they will give multiple offerings a day. On the theme of culture, I took a Balinese cooking class, which is another thing I like to do in each country. I did mine at my accommodation, but there are different classes everywhere. While out in Amed, check out the treehouse. We didn't think much of it when we heard about the place, but we actually really enjoyed it. Taking photos was fun, and we especially loved this guy. It could get romantic.
No, babe.
I'm just kidding, I wasn't actually gonna do it.
You just licked it.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Tricked you. North of Amed is Lovina, which is a popular place to spot dolphins. A lot of times there's controversy when it comes to animal watching, but from my experience, the dolphins seemed happy and playful. We definitely got our bang for the buck because we ended up seeing whales too.
I'm only this time, 20 years
Really?
Only this time. Only this time.
No way! 20 years! There are definitely upsides to traveling on the off-season. Activities such as this one might not have been the same experience had it been the peak season. Just a little advice from one traveler to the next. Bali has so many beautiful waterfalls in the north. I highly recommend spending some time up there checking them out. We went to Les Waterfall on the way home from dolphin watching, but to name a few others, there are Before I end this video, I'm going to answer a few questions you may have before heading to Bali. Most countries get a free visa on arrival for 30 days. It's always safe to have your ticket to fly out before you land. And if you go over 30 days, they will find you. There are ways to extend your visa if needed, so just plan accordingly. Bali has two distinct seasons, the dry and the wet. The high season is around Christmas time, July and August. We chose Amed as our base for our East Coast trip. In Amed, there are accommodations for every budget. If you're backpacking, you could easily find a hostel. If you're looking for something mid-range, I would suggest Santai Hotel. It's right on the coast and in a great location. On the higher end, I would recommend Gria Villa and Spa. This place is perfect if you're looking for a healthy break from life, some quality time with your family, or maybe some romantic time with your partner. Now, this depends on what type of traveler you are. If you like to stay in one spot your whole trip, you could just set up camp in Amed, and then you could visit any of these places I mentioned in the video. If you like to move around, a route you could do is start in the south, see some cliffside views, head to Canggu for some nightlife, move inland to Ubud, and then up north for some waterfalls and dolphins, and then head to Amed for everything else I mentioned. From here, it's super easy to head off to the Gili Islands. Now, I named a lot of activities and you might not have as much time as I did, so my favorite things were 4th place, Mont Batur, 3rd, Lovina dolphin watching, 2nd, the U.S. Liberty shipwreck, and the gold goes to the fishing trip in Amed. My first trip to Bali, I stuck to the main routes, and while I still had a good experience, I definitely found that my second trip, where I spent more time exploring Bali, made me fall in love with the place. Bali has so much to offer, it's safe to travel, and the locals are so kind. If you like this video, let me know by hitting that like button. And if you're interested in other travel videos for Bali or another country I may have visited, consider subscribing because I make a lot of content just like this one.